world's population is predicted to be 10 billion by 2050, meaning we have to feed 2.5 billion more people. And to address this, we need to increase our food production by 70%. We've also got an exploding middle class, and 50% of today's populations are millennials and Gen Z who are placing new demands on the food system. Our food system is under severe pressure to produce more with less in a sustainable way. And at the same time, we need to reduce waste, tackle global challenges like climate change, manage scarce resources of water, land and labour, and also solve for food safety and security issues. Unfortunately, we are living through the COVID pandemic. Challenges in the food supply system are further exacerbated with empty retail shelves, meat packing disruptions and price increases. We're seeing acceleration of new trends where home is the new workplace, where we dine in and order food, increase engagement with digital marketplaces, and look for opportunities for touchless interaction with automation and next generation farming and proteins. Now innovation in agri-food tech has become even more important and more critical and urgent. The ag tech revolution is here in the form of precision ag, big data AI, drones, control environment and next generation proteins. We can't continue to do the same things the same way. We must innovate, adopt and embrace technology. This is why we set up Thrive, to advance the future of food and agriculture through innovation. Entrepreneurs and startups from around the world can solve these problems, and that is why we've built a vibrant agri-food ecosystem. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you're from. Greetings from Silicon Valley. Welcome to the launch of the Thrive Bear Sustainability Challenge. I'm John Hartnett, CEO and founder of SVG Ventures and Thrive, and I'm delighted to be joined here today by Bayer Crop Science Leadership, Sara Boettiger, Head of Global Public Affairs, Science and Sustainability, and Alan Christian, Head of Open Innovation and Strategic Partnerships. Welcome, Sara and Alan.
Thank you. Great to be here.
On our next slide, you can join in on the conversation on our social channels. So check out our hashtags and please post, share, and tweet out the news. And on our next slide, SVG Ventures is an innovation and investment platform. Our vision is to advance the future of food and agriculture through innovation. We have been ranked as the most active ag tech investor by Crunchbase and the leading agri-food accelerator supporting global entrepreneurs. We have over 5,000 global founders in our private network from over 100 countries around the world. On our next slide, we launched our Thrive Global Innovation Initiative last year, focused on addressing the key goals identified by the UN SDGs, also the USDA goals and the European Commission Farm to Fork strategy. We held specific challenges in Australia, Canada, Africa, and currently in Europe. And we've had an overwhelming response from startups from around the world to participate in our Thrive 7 2021 program. On our next slide, we just launched our Thrive Europe Challenge with our global partners, and we will also be working with the EU Commission with this program. So if you'd like to participate or learn more about the program, you can join us on our website here. Our next slide. We have been busy running our global challenges this year. Please mark your calendar for our annual Future of Food Summit with Forbes on June 30th. And of course, our Thrive Bear Challenge Award event on September 9th. On our next slide, I'd like to thank our corporate partners, some of the biggest names in the food and agriculture industry, and we're delighted to be working with them to accelerate their innovation and growth strategies. On our next slide, I'm particularly thrilled to partner with the Bayer Crop Science team to launch the Thrive Bear Sustainability Challenge. And we will share more details on this during our Fireside Chat today with Sara and Alan. And just to check in on who's with us today on our slide here, I think we have more people from outside of the United States than in the US. So I think that's a new record for us. We've had over 600 people register from 58 countries and 36 states across the US. So welcome everybody. And I know you're going to really enjoy this, this Fireside Chat. We'll also launch a poll. We'll have two questions on the challenges and sustainability in agriculture. This should pop up on your screen now, and you can scroll down to vote for the vote questions. So please vote now, and we'll come back and look at your findings. Before we kick off, I want to also mention to submit your questions. If you like somebody else's question, you can upvote them or upvote your favorite questions. So please please do that now, and we'll get to your questions once we go through our Fireside Chat. And then before I kick off the Fireside Chat, let me share a short video on how Bayer are helping shape agriculture for a more sustainable future, taking on climate change and making agriculture part of the solution.
We're all facing some very challenging times with the COVID-19 pandemic, which is a real crisis. And sometimes we forget that the biggest crisis that humanity is facing is actually related to climate change. That's why we at Bayer have set really ambitious sustainability commitments, because our goal is to help make agriculture part of the solution to climate change.
We have to make our global food systems more sustainable. It's our responsibility to the next generation, to our customers, and to ourselves. This means reducing our environmental footprint while still managing to produce affordable, nutritious food for the world.
We can help redefine the value of farming, and growers can generate revenue for adopting climate-smart practices. Together, we are jump-starting a new era of sustainable agriculture.
We want to ensure we are offering growers tailored solutions and recommendations that maintain the protection they need for their crop while reducing environmental impact.
For all our commitments, we are measuring and tracking progress, on the one hand to improve business decision-making, but also to provide the public with complete transparency into our efforts.
At Bayer, we're working really hard to shape the future of agriculture for the benefit of farmers, consumers, and the planet. And through this, we're going to bring our vision to life: health for all and hunger for none.
Brilliant. And now for our Fireside Chat. Let me introduce Sara. Sara is a leading global ag economist who has counseled governments around the world with a storied career across public and private sector. She's one of the most influential figures when it comes to sustainability in the global world of agriculture. She has a track record across the public and private sector, such as the World Economic Forum and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Sara is now leading public affairs and sustainability strategy for the largest ag company in the world, Bayer. I encourage you also to join Sara's LinkedIn and Twitter if you want to keep up to speed on innovation and agriculture. And welcome, Sara.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
So Sara, it's a very incredible background you've got there. And I know you're well traveled as well, having worked in UK, Europe, and you even know my own culture in Ireland. So very impressive. Maybe just to kick things off, why did you join Bayer?
Yeah, great question. I've sort of bounced around between public and private sectors for a long time, but I just had this huge privilege to work with really smart people on doing things that matter. My whole career, and that's become sort of the main piece for me in where I work, is how to have environmental impact, social impact, and how to do it at scale, and how to do it with a sort of urgency. So when you think about Bayer as the biggest ag company in the world, we have this phenomenal innovation engine. We've got 2.3 billion euros of innovative farming spent on innovative farming solutions, and 7,800 R&D employees. So it's just a privilege to work in a company that has taken sustainability into the heart of its business. Really, it's driving growth for the business. It's not hanging off at the side as a sort of corporate social responsibility. So there's no place else I'd rather be right now for making big impact in the world.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely center stage, and I think with the challenges that we're all facing, you know, with climate change, this is the time to make this impact. I know we launched our poll, and maybe Jess, you can maybe raise up the answers and see what we're seeing in terms of the polls and the what people are saying. So, on our first question, of the following areas, what do you think is the most pressing challenge for the agriculture currently? And this is pretty split, but the number one is 43%, improving food security, especially in developing world, by improving smallholder farm access to innovative farming solutions is coming out on top, and looks like reducing the impact of crop protection on biodiversity and environment is coming on number two. What do you think about those, Sarah? Any surprises? I know these are kind of key for Bayer.
Yeah, they're fundamental. Yeah, I have to say, if I had to choose, I'd give a sort of politician's non-answer and say all of them, because they're all critical. But food security, you know, I was just reading the World Food Programme's estimate out this month that we now have 296 million people in the 35 countries that they work in. Wow. That don't have sufficient food. That's 111 million more than April last year, and we're just sliding backwards on our progress on SDGs. So I completely agree with that one, and you know, I think they're all critical, and we can talk more about each one of them as we go.
Yeah, and the second question was, which of the following agriculture advances would you say has had the biggest impact on sustainability? And again, out front, you've got precision ag as kind of the leading poll here, followed by soil conservation practices. Any surprises there for you, or don't give me the politician's response? Give me your response.
Yeah, I don't make a very good politician. I think the ag industry, it's just a super exciting time to be in the ag industry, because for those of us who've been working on the digital side, who've been saying, oh no, it's going to go through a digital transformation. You know, we were saying that 10 years ago. It's definitely going through a disruption now in terms of digital, which is just super exciting to be around. But the second disruption in the ag industry is really around sustainability. So when you put those two into the kinds of forces that are at play in the market and the value for farmers, it's just a really exciting time for these kinds of innovation. So the two that are up there, you know, in terms of how do we actually make soil conservation practices a value for the farmer, it's going to take digital to do that, and of course precision ag.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing the same thing. I mean, I think we had almost like 2x the number of companies that applied to our program, you know, this year. And this is kind of during a year where you have a pandemic. And I think you might have seen venture capital investment in ag tech hit nearly 26 billion, you know, across the full supply chain. So it's scaling, and I think COVID is even accelerating the interest and focus, you know, across the supply chain. You know, I know from a Bayer perspective, you know, you're taking these sustainability commitments really serious, and there are kind of three kind of key topics that you're focused on. I know, obviously, you know, right across the board, there are a number of different areas, but reducing the environmental impact of crop protection, advancing a carbon zero future for agriculture, and empowering smallholder farmers. I'm just curious, how did you come up with those? I know some companies have tens of different areas of focus. You've really kind of focused on kind of a top three, and just curious on why you picked those.
Yeah, well, Bear's vision, health for all, hunger for none, it's really a translation of that. When you get down to exactly, what you said at the beginning, how do we feed the population as it grows? Respecting planetary boundaries. You have to have all of those three legs of the stool. So they're huge, audacious goals, though. When you think about it, even for the places that I've worked in the world, these are big goals. And so the environmental impact reduction is 30% in field environmental impact reduction, and similarly the greenhouse gas reduction is in field. So lots of companies do the operational carbon neutral, which we do also, but we've just gone this extra mile to say no, like we're going to really provide solutions for agriculture. And then the 100 million smallholder farmers, it's just critical. We have to figure out how to reach these markets. It's and it's going to involve digital innovation. It's going to involve different portfolios of products. It needs some innovation, but we need to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think even watching your video and hearing Liam talk about climate change and making agriculture part of the solution, and also obviously there's nothing more important than feeding the world and eliminating hunger. These are such the biggest goals. I mean, how do you measure success? Like in 5 years, 10 years time, when we're looking back and say, okay, this is what we did. How do we track ourselves here?
Yeah, and this actually goes back to your first question. Why are you at Bayer? And part of it is because this company has made it really accountable, which is not necessarily, there's a lot of companies with doing amazing things, but this company is auditing. This company we put our sustainability commitments into the executive compensation in the company. So we're super serious about these goals, and so the tracking of them is already built in. But the interesting thing is it's even beyond. Sure, we could track how many farmers we reach with our sales, but we're actually also trying to figure out, well, what is the impact on the smallholder farmer households? So it's even beyond the sort of normal accountability that you might expect. So it's a pretty exciting momentum that's really showing up in the DNA of the company.
Yeah, that's excellent. I mean, I think making teams accountable and measuring through people's performance in the company, I think is one of the strongest things that you can do, and obviously empower the whole company to deliver on this. So, and I think from a sustainability perspective, there've been lots of companies talking about this for years, and lots of hand waving. It's so refreshing to see this level of focus on these key areas, and also holding people accountable to deliver and measure. So, I mean, congratulations on this. I know we're only on the first mile of the marathon here, but this is fantastic.
Yeah, I think the other part is that because of the disruptions we were just talking about in the industry, if you believe that the ag industry is going through a sustainability disruption, it just becomes part of your growth plan in your company. You have to be innovating for that. From the company. So it's no longer sort of a sustainability strategy and a commercial strategy. It's what we're doing in the company. So it takes on a whole new frame.
Excellent. So maybe we can turn to the audience for a couple of questions if you're up for that.
Sure.
Okay, hang on, we get these questions up here. So we got a first question. Quick question for Sarah. How does Bayer differentiate from its competitors when it comes to its commitments to sustainability and investment in innovation to achieve those goals?
Yeah, so to Bayer, I think I've given a couple of those already, that we are very seriously accountable. This is not a communication exercise or a reputation exercise. It is embedded in our commercial strategy. But I think the other part that's super interesting to me, you know, I've been at Bayer for 9 months now, I think, and it's such a great culture of really believing in evidence and data. And I think there's just a super big culture of providing the evidence and making it science-based and making these advances really solid. I think the other piece I would say is that we have done a lot of work on transparency in the company.
Yeah.
And that's also been a real principle that I think sets us apart. You know, we want to show you our dossiers of what we have, our products. We want to, you know, we want to be transparent and get the data out there.
Okay, excellent. Another question: what role can or should Bayer play in helping society protect critical resources, wetlands, tropic forests, river buffers, etc.?
Yeah, land use change is such a big piece of what we're facing in the climate space right now. So it's a great question. I think that, you know, part of the obvious answer is that we need to figure out how to grow more and have more productive livestock using less resources. So more on less land will take the pressure off of some of those land resources. But frankly, there's just so many more layers to those questions in terms of governments and you know, and the economics of the regions where those are. Yeah. So there's a huge amount of work to do on really good policy. There's actually a huge amount to do, I think, on digital innovation, and we know there's some really cool work going on in the remote sensing field in terms of protecting forests. So I think we still have a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Sarah. I've got a little longer question here. Does Bayer have a role in helping farmers diversify what they grow? Does Bayer have any metrics having to do with applying the right amount of inputs or perhaps reducing inputs? I'm thinking about electric utilities having to employ conservation, demand side management tools. Use less of product. Perhaps we can apply some of the thinking to agriculture. So,
yeah. So I think if you go back to the disruption conversation we were having, the big challenge when an industry is being disrupted, and it's being disrupted towards the sense that this question is asking, how do you farm in a different way that uses less resources, that is kinder to the planet. And the differentiators in that disruption are those that understand the business models of the users. So that's where we are, is trying to figure out, like, what does this look like from a farm perspective? You know, why would you, as a farmer, and across any of the farming systems in the world, why would you change your practices? And how can we figure out how to pay you to change your practices? And what does that mean? So the whole sort of environmental payments part, or ecosystems payments, of, you know, cleaner water payments or carbon payments we're also innovating there.
Mm-hmm. This is another, a hot question here. I'll combine two questions in one. I'm interested in payments for the ecosystem services, and especially payments for carbon sequestration. What is Bayer doing and planning to do here? And I'll merge another question, and where you focus here.
So we started a carbon pilot project last year, and I think this year, at least the plan is, we'll have 2 million acres under climate smart practices. So that's paying farmers to farm differently. And of course the question is, you know, how does that scale beyond? You know, how do we create how do we make use of what is turning out to be a pretty high growth private market in carbon credit, which is just escalating hugely. But then there's a lot of other parts to the ecosystem payments question. You think about, could you stack them for a farmer? So if you do farm in a conservation ag way or a climate smart way, you'll also get cleaner water, or you might reduce you might have more water conservation. So what does that look like at the farm? Could it change your crop insurance premiums? Could it, could it be linked to ag subsidies? So this space is a very fast moving space and a really cool one to be in. And we are right in the middle of it, trying to figure out how we do it, both on the technology side, on the customer side, and on the policy side.
Okay. And just one last question, and I know this is another key one for you as well. Are there particular countries or regions that Bayer is prioritizing engagement for smallholder agriculture? Is there scope for public-private partnerships and engagement with multilaterals?
Absolutely. So we have a really large program in India on smallholder farmers, and Southeast Asia smallholder farmers. We have another priority in Africa, but the models are different. If you look at the farming systems and population density and irrigation and a bunch of other things, make the models really different in Africa, but those are our priority growth areas. We also have a lot of smallholder farming work in Latin America, so it's global. I forgot to answer the question about the climate smart practices, though. We have in the US, Brazil, India, Australia, and Europe, we have carbon farming practices started. And the question about multilaterals, absolutely. We are our belief is that you can't do these things. You can't make these big leaps alone, and especially in low and middle income countries. If you're not working with multilaterals, development banks, local governments, you're just not you're not doing it right. So absolutely.
Okay. Well, there's tons of questions. We could be here for a while. Sara, this has been, I really enjoyed the conversation, with you. And I know we're going to chat with Alan about how we're going to take action now in terms of running a challenge. We definitely believe entrepreneurs can solve some of the biggest challenges in the world, and it's obviously great for us to be able to partner with Bayer here. So, Sara, thank you. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you. Thanks. I enjoyed it too.
Yep. So let me move on to Alan. A little quick intro on Alan. He's based in St. Louis. He serves as a member of the R&D leadership team as head of open innovation and strategic partnerships for the crop science division of Bayer. This team is responsible for strategically identifying opportunities that can bolster the technology pipeline, as well as developing strong partnerships and relationships for the future. Alan graduated from Colorado State University with a doctorate in radiation physics and molecular biology, and from the University of Colorado Boulder with a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering. With the company for 15 years, he has worked in plant biotechnology, leading genomics and transgenic sciences, in corporate strategy, helping develop the RNA manufacturing platform, and most recently in product supply, where he founded and led the seed production innovation. Alan, you are a busy man, and great to have you here.
Thank you so much, John, and thank you for sponsoring this.
Oh, delighted. I know you wanted to kind of share a little bit of an outline on the focus of the challenge and some of the logistics there. So maybe I'll hand it over to you for a quick presentation and overview, and we can kind of chat through some of that as well and afterwards.
Fantastic, thank you. So if we can go to the next slide. First, I'd like to welcome everybody here. Thank you so much for being part of this. These sustainability goals are extremely important to Bayer, and I'm really pleased through the Thrive Challenge that we will be able to work on this together, because I think that together we can make a real difference in the world in these areas. So Bayer's sustainability commitments, we want to implement a carbon zero, more inclusive future for agriculture. And we've aligned some of our key goals with the United Nations initiatives around these areas. So our goal, we want to reduce field greenhouse gas emissions by 30%. Farming is a carbon intensive industry, and we want to do everything we can to drive it toward carbon neutrality. We want to reduce the environmental impact of crop protection by 30%. And we want to empower smallholder farmers. Smallholder farmers very often are in logistical situations where they can't take advantage of some of the technologies that bigger farms can take advantage of. So a specific focus in this area is important to us. So on the next slide, I'd just like to point out that we can't do this alone. This is a huge endeavor, and we fully recognize that partnering in this area is going to be critical for Bayer to meet our goals. Bayer is very partnership driven, and we really enjoy working with startup companies such as are on this call today. If we can go to the next slide. Bayer has over 100 technology agreements right now, collaborating with companies in all sorts of different ways, whether we're simply working with them through payment investments to solve certain problems, or whether we're equity investors in the companies. We have a long track record of working with startup companies to achieve success for both Bayer and for the startup companies. Our goal is for us all to be successful so that we can help farmers and help drive innovation around the world. So we invest in a couple different ways in companies, as I say. We have a LEAPS organization, which doesn't stand for anything. It's just a leap that operates across all of Bayer Group, that does equity investments in companies. And then in R&D, my organization handles R&D investment strategy for the crop science R&D organization. And we work with LEAPS to figure out what kind of investment or partnership we want to have with companies. So we're very tightly linked. So how the partnership works tends to be driven by the discussions with the companies, and then we work internally to make that happen. So how will this specifically work? So if we can go to the next slide. The focus areas we have here are what we think are our key opportunities here. So we want to produce higher crop yields with lower consumption of natural resources. Basically, more food on less land with fewer inputs. So we're looking at efficiencies of crop systems. We're looking at general improvements in crop yields and things like this. We want to advance a carbon zero future in agriculture, whether through carbon capture, through some version of a circular agronomic economy, something. If we knew the answers, we'd be working on all of these things ourselves, but our goal is to partner with you to try to solve these. And finally, we want to advance smallholder farming systems in socially, environmentally, and commercially responsible ways. Smallholder farmers have different challenges and different priorities from larger farms, and we want to make sure that we're responsive to that. So the key areas here, they could be around the digital farming areas, social, biological, commercial. Really, the sky is the limit in terms of how we're thinking about this. We're interested in new ideas and innovative approaches. So specifically on the next slide, what will happen is we'll launch today the Thrive Challenge, and submissions will be due by June 11th. The team will select the finalists by July 30th, and then those finalists will have private pitch sessions with the judges sometime in August, and we'll award the challenge winners by September 9th. I do want to point out, though, that there will be winners here, but if there are other innovative ideas that come out of this, that doesn't mean that we won't partner with you or work with you. We're interested in all of these solutions. So on the next slide, what you get if you win. So there's startup and scale up, and as you can see on the slide, I won't read all of it to you, but from a startup standpoint, you get access to applicable Bayer expertise. Having been both on the university and the industry side myself, it's very handy to understand from a company how we can take things from a startup idea out into our commercial operations. So having that kind of expertise, both around technical and commercial, as well as some of the scale up options, will be really valuable in terms of getting these inventions put to use. Access to R&D team resources and investment team resources, and publicity, certainly within Bayer and externally. The scale up winners similarly will be partnering exploration of this into proof of concept, and again, access to R&D and investment team resources and publicity. And from a Thrive standpoint, the startup winner will get an invitation to the Thrive Accelerator, get a cash Thrive investment, and access to the Thrive ecosystem and publicity therein. And the scale up winner will get automatically included in the selection process for the Thrive 50 and inclusion in the Thrive ecosystem and the publicity therein. So there are a lot of benefits both to participating in and to winning this competition. But at the end of the day, the winners are going to be the farmers and society. So our goal really is to partner with you to make it better. And we're looking forward to working with you. And with that, I thank you, and I'll turn it back to John.
Excellent, Alan. Thank you very much. We're super excited for this, and looking forward to kind of getting and seeing all these innovative solutions, and really great to be able to hear, that obviously companies want to win and receive investment, and this is kind of happening through this process. But we also find and meet so many other entrepreneurs that could actually make an impact. So you're engaging with that ecosystem and that community, I think is really, really important, particularly being one of the biggest companies, the biggest company in crop science. You mentioned the innovation ecosystem is a critical part of the Bayer strategy and achieving, these sustainability commitments. How do you engage, with the ecosystem, and how would you describe that ecosystem? It's a word that's used a lot, so it'd be really great to get your perspective.
Absolutely. Sort of two really good questions rolled into one. So how we engage with the external ecosystem is honestly through a variety of methods, from just organic, our scientists who know others and bring recommendations forward, but we also have groups that are directed to participate in open innovation. So mine, for example, we have an entire team in my group whose mission it is to go out and identify and communicate with startups and scale-up companies in areas that are important to us, and try to bring those in, whether it's universities we go out and work with. Our goal is to get the best technology we can in and work with these companies to make us all successful. And when we set these sustainability commitments, we knew that the technology to achieve some of these things either didn't exist or was so nascent as to require a lot of development. So we knew we were going to have to go out and partner with innovative companies who are thinking of brand new and paradigm challenging ideas. So that's how we view this. The ecosystem is from academics, NGOs, startups, scale up, everybody who's thinking unconventionally.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And when you look back, I mean, obviously you've been at this for quite some time, 15 years at Bayer, and on the open innovation area, what would you kind of look to success stories in terms of kind of Bayer partnerships and startups and scale-ups? Maybe some of the results that you'd point to.
Sure. Honestly, there are a lot. I think I'd take to begin with, let's take Pairwise. So Pairwise is a company that was set up with Bayer as a principal investor to do gene editing in agriculture. And in addition to helping start the company, we also are one of their key clients, where we have a long-standing agreement with them to solve some of our key crop challenges using gene editing. And they have grown significantly since they started.
Mm-hmm.
And in November, for example, they hit a major milestone in their development platform more than a year early. And part of their success is they have access to our germplasm and our experts. And part of our success is that we have access to their gene editing technology and their experts.
Mm-hmm.
And this has caused them to grow and become just a phenomenal force in this industry. And we couldn't be more pleased with it. Another company called Rantizo, which specializes in drone applications for crop protection products, just closed a Series A round of funding by our LEAPS equity investment program. Now they're expanding their commercial operation, and they're integrating with our digital farming platforms, which is accelerating both of our ability to operate in the precision spraying area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Thanks, Alan. And maybe we can go to the audience and see if there's some specific questions for the program. I mean, I think I would just probably outline for people that, you know, we're launching this today. Submissions are due on June 11th. So that's a key kind of milestone, just to kind of remind everybody again. I see a question there for you, Alan. Is Bayer focused mostly on farm production for future carbon zero goals, or looking to the entire food supply chain?
I will say that our key focus right now is the farm, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't want to look across the food chain, because if there are things that we could do that would have a positive impact further downstream than where we are, then we would absolutely be open to something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And just picking out another Alan question, what's included in your reduced environmental input goal? How do you measure that? How do you incorporate protection of pollinators in that goal as an example?
So great question. A key thing, and this gets back to the Rantizo discussion, the goal is to be able to get similar or increased yields putting fewer chemicals on the acre.
Mm-hmm.
So precision spraying is a thing we're looking at. And the fewer chemicals you have, the less impact you have. When we develop crop protection chemistries, we work hard to make sure we're not having, you know, there's a whole regulatory process we go regarding impact to pollinators and so forth. So it's important to us that be a consideration. But generally speaking, we're looking at lower farm inputs, right? What can you do with less nitrogen input? What can you do with less chemical? And so we measure it specifically by how much less you can put on the acre to meet the yield goals, mm-hmm. which is why, for example, precision spraying is something we're interested in.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I think we've got a good handle on the challenge and some of the questions there. And I think what I say to a lot of the entrepreneurs that we work with here is, you know, success is all about access, access to your customer, the farmer, access to the corporation, access to capital, access to advice and talent. And I think with a program like this, you get all those, you know what I mean, in terms of just the access to the Bayer resource across the board, and obviously incredible exposure across the world with regard to your global footprint. And also, I mean, it is such, a great thing to be able to focus on kind of these big challenges, like this is really meaningful. Personally, I find it's very motivating. And I know a lot of our entrepreneurs who are in the food and agriculture space are doing this with also a greater purpose to make a real impact. So, Alan, thank you for pulling this together with us. And we've had a great few months working with your team, with Phil, and we've been working with Camille on Sarah's team, and it's been really great to be able to do this. And now we're up and running, and looking forward to getting and seeing all these different startups from around the world. Thank you, Alan.
And thank you, John. We're so pleased to be part of this. We're very excited and looking forward to it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
So maybe just to start to wrap up a little bit here, we've got a slide here. Just want to kind of break it down, for you. If you would like to learn more about the challenge, you can visit our website here. You will get all the information and links to the Bear website to get any deeper information with regard to the specifics of the challenges. We're also planning to have a Q&A call on May 13th. If you have any questions about your submission, we're going to do a Zoom call and have an open dialogue if entrepreneurs would like to discuss this. And then as a reminder again, deadline for submissions is June 11th. So please send them in as soon as possible. The sooner we see them, the sooner we will know you're in the running. So again, we're really excited about this. And finally, a big thank you to Sarah and Alan and your teams. Great to have you on board, as a partner here. Great, enjoyed the conversation today. I can't believe I'm on a fireside chat with somebody like Sarah, whose great grandfather held the first fireside chat. I bet she didn't think I'd say that, but it's a true honor to do this, and really looking forward to a great journey together as we solve these great challenges. And again, big thank you to the team. I know Phil, Camille, John, and Jess and Helen and our team. It's been great to bring this together with you. So thank you.
Yeah, the honor is ours, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And I'd like to thank our audience. Really enjoyed the conversation today. Look forward to hearing from you and meeting many of you as we go through the challenge over the next few months. So thank you very much for joining us today, and hope to see you soon. Stay safe and take care.